Clint Eastwood, born May 31, 1930, is a towering figure in American cinema, known worldwide for his portrayal of the stoic antihero, the tough San Francisco cop, Dirty Harry Callahan, and one of Hollywood's most respected and prolific directors. He is one of the rare figures in entertainment whose contributions span generations and genres, from westerns, thrillers, dramas, to war films and biopics. Even in his 90s, he remains artistically vibrant, continuing to act, direct, and challenge cinematic norms with recent works such as Cry Macho, 2021, and Juror No. 2, 2024. Yet at age 95, the American cinema icon, known for his calm demeanor, unwavering toughness, and near-mythical quality, made a rare and vulnerable confession that shocked those who thought they knew the man behind the legend. In a quiet, reflective moment, the veteran actor uttered just 9 haunting words. "She's the only one who could have done that to me." The confession was not about a physical injury or a professional failure, but about Sandra Locke, the woman who left a deep and lasting scar on his life that 9 decades of living have not fully healed. The question is, how could a man defined by perseverance, humility, and independence, a man who always maintained control in his life and on screen, be so devastated by a relationship that he admitted to being emotionally numb? And did the public aura he built throughout his career mask a harsh truth about the personal trauma he suffered? Or was this simply the result of a bitter public legal battle? Let's delve into Eastwood's brilliant life and career and uncover the mysteries and truths behind this haunting confession in his twilight years. Clint Eastwood, born Clinton Eastwood Jr., was born in San Francisco, California. He grew up during the Great Depression, experiencing a modest life that forged a resilient character and a strong work ethic. His teenage years were marked by frequent moves across California due to his father's work as a steelworker and migrant laborer. These formative years taught him the values of perseverance, humility, and independence, qualities that would later shape both his on-screen persona and his off-screen demeanor. After graduating from high school in 1949, Eastwood worked a variety of odd jobs, including lifeguard, newspaper carrier, grocery store clerk, forest firefighter, and golf caddy. He enlisted in the United States Army during the Korean War. His first foray into Hollywood came when he was spotted by an assistant at Fort Ord and invited to meet with the director. Although initially criticized for his stiff acting style, Eastwood signed his initial contract in April 1954. His first big break came in the late 1950s, when he was cast as Rowdy Yates in the Western television series Rawhide. The series, which ran from 1959 to 1965, was a huge success, bringing Eastwood his first fame. However, Eastwood was unhappy with his character, feeling that Rowdy Yates was too childish and awkward for his nearly 30 years of age. Eastwood's career skyrocketed to international superstardom in the mid-1960s when he teamed up with Italian director Sergio Leone. This collaboration resulted in the classic Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. These spaghetti westerns introduced the world to the iconic Man with No Name, a calm anti-hero whose quiet strength and moral ambiguity captivated audiences. Eastwood was instrumental in creating the character's distinctive visual style. This role transformed the Western genre, bringing a gritty realism that contrasted sharply with the more traditional, sanitized cowboy image of previous decades. In the 1970s, Eastwood continued to develop his acting and directing career with a series of commercially successful and critically acclaimed films. He introduced another legendary character, police officer Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry, 1971. This tough, uncompromising San Francisco cop became synonymous with justice served outside the bounds of bureaucracy, a concept that resonated deeply with a generation struggling with rising crime and disillusionment with authority. The film spawned numerous sequels and cemented Eastwood's reputation as a tough, uncompromising action star. His famous line, "Go ahead, make my day," has become one of cinema's immortal lines. In addition to his acting achievements, Clint Eastwood has also developed into one of Hollywood's most respected and prolific directors. His directing career began with play Misty for Me in 1971. His films, such as Unforgiven, 1992, Mystic River, 2003, $1 Million Baby, 2004, and American Sniper, 2014, revealed a filmmaker capable of exploring the human condition with depth, sensitivity, and nuance. Unforgiven, in particular, is considered a landmark, as it deconstructs the myths of the Old West and offers a melancholy meditation on violence, morality, and redemption. Eastwood has won numerous accolades, including 4 Academy Awards, 2 for Best Director and 2 for Best Picture, 4 Golden Globe Awards, and the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. Despite his stoic on-screen persona, Eastwood led a varied personal life, including stints as a politician, an accomplished jazz musician, and a devoted father of at least 8 children. He is known as a modern-day Casanova, attracting widespread attention for his complex personal life, especially his multiple overlapping romantic relationships. He first married Maggie Johnson in 1953. The marriage lasted 3 decades, but was complicated by Eastwood's early success in Hollywood and the temptations that came with fame. Extramarital affairs put serious strain on the marriage. While still married to Johnson, Eastwood had a significant relationship with Roxanne Tunis from 1959 to 1973, which resulted in the birth of their daughter Kimber in 1964. In total, Clint Eastwood is known to have had at least 8 children with 6 different women, although some reports suggest the number may be higher. He has often been reticent to discuss the full extent of his relationships and family, which has added to the mystique surrounding his personal life. Yet behind his phenomenal success and unshakable image as a man, there was a simmering personal crisis and a profound tragedy involving a single woman. In 1975, Eastwood began one of the most media-highlighted and artistically significant relationships of his life with actress Sandra Locke. Their collaboration lasted both on and off screen, as the two appeared together in many of Eastwood's iconic films, including The Outlaw Josie Wales, Every Which Way But Loose, and Sudden Impact. They lived together for over 14 years, and Locke became one of Eastwood's most prominent partners. Locke even claimed that Eastwood sang "She Made Me Monogamous" to her and confessed that he had never been in love before. However, the relationship was defined by intense passion, artistic collaboration, emotional turmoil, and ultimately a painful and public breakup. The relationship ended acrimoniously in April 1989, leading to a high-profile legal battle in the media. Locke sued for unregistered spousal support and later sued for fraud. During the legal battle, Locke accused Eastwood of cheating and sabotaging her career. The facade of unique love that Eastwood presented to Locke collapsed after the breakup, exposing deep contradictions. During his time with Locke, Eastwood maintained other relationships and is believed to have fathered at least 3 children. One of these secret relationships was with Jocelyn Reeves, a flight attendant, who bore him 2 children, Scott Eastwood, born 1986, and Catherine Eastwood, born 1988. The fact that Eastwood fathered these children was not widely acknowledged until many years later, when Scott began pursuing an acting career. Even while Eastwood and Locke were still living together, Eastwood secretly arranged for Locke to have 2 abortions. Although Locke was married to Gordon Lee Anderson, a gay man, in a marriage of convenience, Eastwood was her real lover. Eastwood's emotional deceit and lack of transparency in his personal life caused an irreparable rift. The hidden truth lies not only in the deceptions, but also in the nature of the relationship between Eastwood and Locke and how it exposed Eastwood's vulnerable side. Sandra Locke was not just a co-star, but also Eastwood's muse, his equal, and perhaps the only woman who ever truly challenged him on both an artistic and emotional level. Unlike many of the other women he dated, Locke was a sharp, strong actress who refused to stand in his shadow. She demanded to be seen and heard, and she saw through the Clint Eastwood legend to see the vulnerable human being underneath. And that, perhaps, is what made her dangerous to him. She made him feel things he didn't want to feel. She made him doubt his own instincts. She made him hesitate. His 95-year-old confession, "She's the only one who can do that to me," was not bitterness, but a deep, almost spiritual pain, as if he were looking back on a chapter of his life that he never really closed. Clint Eastwood's real tragedy was not an external event, but the slow collapse of the emotional world of a man who had been a symbol of resilience and control. He once described the shock as a crash, a kind of emotional paralysis that left him empty and disoriented. Eastwood once admitted, "She broke something inside me, and I never figured out how to fix it." What makes this confession so haunting is that it comes from a man who has weathered the fierce pressures of Hollywood for more than 6 decades, fought in wars, directed Oscar-winning films, and built a strong, steadfast image. But then, it was the woman he loved who brought him down, taking away the control he had always held so tightly. This collapse was not only internal, but also extended to his public image. In a life filled with trips, film sets, award stages, interviews, and director's chairs, the passing of Sandra Locke left Eastwood frozen in the middle of that endless flow. The steel hero image that had been associated with him was suddenly stripped away, replaced by a weak, wounded man, almost tender whenever he was with Locke. The legal battle that followed was like a storm, exposing his private cracks to the public light, shattering the lonely, cold image he had painstakingly built since the days of Rawhide and the Dollars trilogy. Behind all of this, it was the interactions in that relationship that created the perfect storm. Eastwood betrayed the loyalty he had promised, and Locke did not hesitate to respond. The betrayal and bitter retaliation not only caused him to lose his lover, but also his image, lose faith in himself, and then fall into a deep emotional void. This was not a mere noisy love affair of the entertainment world, but a wound that touched the hardest part of him, a place that seemed invulnerable. The moment of no return was when Eastwood confessed, "I couldn't walk after that." This statement not only described a shock, but was a metaphor for complete emotional paralysis. In his Carmel mansion, surrounded by awards, scripts, portraits, and memories of a lifetime of art, he still keeps Locke like a photograph with worn edges but never discarded. It exists as a memory that will never fade. After that breakup, Eastwood married Dina Ruiz in 1996 and had a daughter. This relationship was considered more public and conventional, but it also ended in divorce in 2014. Although he has had other partners, including Christina Sandera, the scar from Locke remains the deepest. Looking back at the story at 95, he no longer speaks of it as a showbiz scandal, but as a tragedy that quietly reshaped his entire inner world. The dark truth of this love story lies in the profound contrast between the image of a cold, controlling man without a name and the reality of a man who was so damaged by love that he could never fully recover. That confession shattered the myth of Clint Eastwood, that even an icon of steel could crack in the face of betrayal. It revealed a complex, multi-layered man, a father of 8 children, a man who had multiple affairs, and who had to pay the price of one of the most expensive divorces of his time. The story not only shook the public's image of an independent hero, but also exposed the dark corners of human emotions, that power, fame, or toughness cannot protect the heart from being broken by love. Clint Eastwood's life was a powerful intersection of brilliant achievement and personal tragedy. Not only was he an artist who reinvented himself and reshaped American cinema, winning prestigious awards such as the AFI Life Achievement Award and the French Legion of Honor, but he was also a living testament to the fragility of the human spirit under the pressure of fame and the complexities of love. His most enduring wound was not a bullet wound or professional betrayal, but a woman named Sandra Locke. What questions does this late confession at age 95 raise about the nature of power and personal control? Do you think the image of the stoic hero was an invisible burden that forced Eastwood to bury his pain and vulnerability for decades? Or is this late-life confession simply a way for him to finally admit that even the greatest icons cannot control their hearts?